We are going to welcome in Xavier Musketeer head coach, Coach Richard Pitino. So thank you so much, Coach Pitino, for joining us here on a Thursday.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so let's just start with this. I'm a Xavier fan. I've spent many evenings at Dana Gardens. One of my favorite things that I saw after the Crosstown Shootout was the pictures and the videos of you at Dana Gardens. How was the reception there after the big win over UC on Friday night?
Yeah, I've never been in Dana Gardens. And so I was a little apprehensive at first to do it because our student section, they seemed to be having a very good time before the game. Sure. There was a lot of energy in there, and so I'm sitting there going, all right, do I do this? One of my assistants, Peyton, talked me into it and said, you got to do it. So as we were kind of walking over there, because there wasn't parking out front. I mean, it was just like so many students building up, walking in there. So I'm glad I did it. So much of our crowd is about the student section. So it was good to take care of them. But I was in there very, very briefly and got out of there as quickly as possible.
Sure. Hopefully they didn't run up the tab too much there.
It wasn't too bad.
Okay. I know one thing that you mentioned was how important the student section is. Cintas Center is one of the toughest places to play in the country. The Crosstown Shootout is one of the best rivalries in this country. I know, obviously, you've been around college basketball for a long time, so you knew that. How much did the Crosstown Shootout live up to the billing in your mind of how great this rivalry is?
Well, I tell you what, it was a great game on both sides. It was close a lot of the way. We built the lead. They came back. They took a lead with whatever that was, 2.5, 3 minutes. And then Philip Borovichyn knocks down a big shot. But there was playmaking on both sides. So that's what you always want. I mean, you want, what truly makes a good rivalry is when both teams are good, right? So both teams were certainly playing at a high level, making shots, defending, rebounding, doing all those things. But the environment was as good as I have seen. I think it's a true bragging rights rivalry. I mean, it clearly matters to both fan bases. And I think when you have, you're 3 miles apart, you got friends who are UC fans, you got friends who are Xavier fans, you can tell it really means a lot to both fan bases to be able to brag for a year that we won or they won. So fortunate to kick off my first time with a win, but it was a pretty special environment.
Yeah, it is about bragging rights, and if there's one dude that can brag the most, it's Trey Carroll. Talk about his performance against UC on Friday.
Yeah, I mean he's been consistently probably our best player from just start to finish of the year. I mean, you've had guys like Jovan Milicevic who's jumped onto the scene and done a lot of good things, but I think Trey has been pretty reliable. But just the uniqueness of the way that he's scored, and he does that. He does that in practice. I mean, he's making left hand, right hand jump hooks from 8 feet away that are just really, really hard. But, we put him in what we call a Barkley situation where it's kind of give him the ball out on the perimeter and dribble down and see the way they're going to guard you. And he really was impressive there. And that's what makes college basketball so special is although guys are transferring and doing all this, you're still playing with that emotion and that energy that still hasn't gone away, which is nice to see.
Yeah, he certainly played with a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, and you saw it in the post game, all the interviews that he did. And for a lot of people in this city, that was the first time, kind of getting to know Trey, and he seems to have an incredibly infectious personality. What was your first impression when you met him and he was coming to Xavier? What was your first impression of Trey?
Well, obviously the hair. I mean, you're like, wow, what a amazing full head of hair there. But then the more you got to know him, great kid, came with his mom, came with his wife. He's not a kid. He's a grown married man.
Sure.
Came with his grandparents, so kind of cool. This isn't to knock Florida by any means, but he's from there, goes to FAU. Obviously they have a great run, but it's not like they don't have the fan support that a Xavier has. So, like, I don't think Trey wanted to leave FAU. I really don't. He was pretty loyal to them, but it just, for whatever reason, it was time to move on. But to have him experience like a true basketball experience, to finish off his career has been great. So he's a gamer too. I mean, he practices well, but when the lights come on, he does a lot of impressive things for sure.
No doubt about it. Coach, following the Santa Clara loss and the loss to Iowa, this team has really stepped up to a whole different level of play. Where have you seen the biggest improvements from the team?
The Santa Clara game, like, I'm not surprised that we lost. Like, Santa Clara is a really good team. Okay. They're old. They've got guys back. Coach Sendek does a great job. So I scheduled that game, although it was like a bye game. I'm like, no, this is a quality game that we could absolutely, if we win it, could be like a quad 2. If we lose, I don't think it's necessarily going to kill us. But it was like an alarming game all around. And we had to make some changes, whether it was lineup, whether it was, just some adjustments defensively to how we're doing things. And, we changed up the lineup. We put Jovan at the 5. Mm-hmm. And although we went to Iowa and didn't win, like, I think we saw some things in there of like, okay, we're putting the defense in a bind, with how we're going 5 out and doing those things. So you've seen the number of assists really go up, the number of turnovers really go down. And that's just what happens when you play 5 skilled guys together. So the response going into Charleston, I thought, was phenomenal. Came back, almost won the Georgia game, had that, Georgia's very, very talented. The next day we came back and practiced our butts off. The day of the West Virginia game, we did an early shoot around, and it was like a full-on practice. So I saw the light kind of go on and the confidence build with that lineup and everybody kind of filling into their roles, and it's been pretty cool to see.
One thing you mentioned is the turnovers have gone down since you've gone to kind of this new style. You see, they're one of the best teams in the country at creating turnovers. You guys didn't turn the ball over a lot. How has your team been able to really take care of the basketball?
People have asked me that a lot, as if like I'm doing something special in coaching, and
you are.
I'm not. I think it's playing 5 skilled guys who are enjoying the way that they're playing together. Like we haven't practiced. Sometimes we look like the Golden State Warriors, the way everybody's sharing it and spraying it. Sometimes like, hey, somebody's got to shoot the ball, man. Like, but yeah, I mean, that's our only chance. Like, we're not going to out-athlete you by any means, but if we have a chance to win any games, we kind of almost have to out-fundamental you. Playing off of 2 feet is something we work on a lot. Trey was terrific in the game. Malik had a great kick out off of 2 to get Jovan a 3. So I just think when your spacing is good and you've got guys that are able to make shots, everybody's willing to share the ball.
We've talked Trey. Is there anyone else on the team that you've seen? Is there anyone that you can really highlight as this guy has really stepped it up? This guy has really come into his own as a player and has really helped the team recently.
Filip Borovichinin, by far. I think he has been extremely consistent, knocked down a huge 3. I know Trey was the storyline of that game, but right. I mean, Filip not blinking. And sometimes it happens where team hits a big shot and everybody just freezes and they almost want you to call a timeout as a coach. Like, I really don't want to do that. I think your best chance to get an easy look is to just go, and not let the defense set up. And Filip comes down, and he had been struggling with his shot a little bit. I think he's only made about 6-7 threes or something like that on the year. Not to do the 6-7 thing because I got young kids and I've moved on from that.
Right.
But I think defensively, his versatility, I mean, he is a 6'8" guard. And he had 15 rebounds. So I think he's kind of been the unsung hero on the team.
You play Missouri State tomorrow, then you start Big East games. Next week, when you look at the team and you get ready for conference play, what are you guys going to have to do to have a successful season in conference?
Again, I mean, I think it's, we're not going to go into a lot of these venues and be like, okay, we can block shots. We're going to out rebound you. Like, we're just not that type of team right now.
Right.
Our discipline, I think, to the fundamentals has got to be huge. Like, I'm not surprised that UC out rebounded us. Like, they were jumping over us. But our blockouts have got to be better. Our spacing has got to be great. Our ability to get into the paint and make the right decisions. I was really proud of the fact because UC was staying home on all of our shooters. When we played West Virginia, we would get into the paint and they would really collapse, and we were kicking it out, getting really good looks. UC didn't do that, and we were still able to score a lot of 2-point buckets. Still got to get better defensively. I think it's getting better, but in order to go win on the road, like, we got to get some stops and then finish those possessions with some rebounds. But we'll have a chance if we continue to share the ball and not turn it over like we've been doing.
If I would have told you before that Crosstown Shootout game that you would go 6 for 28 from three, shoot 50% from the line, give up 15 offensive rebounds, what would your opinion have been on how that game would have went?
Well, I mean, I think UC is really, really talented. I think West does a really good job with them. But I would have probably been surprised if we would have won the game like that. But we have been harping on it, and we've been working a lot on it in practice of, like, yes, when you play 5 guys who could shoot the 3, like, that's a fun way to coach. It really is. But you cannot rely on it and be consumed with it because teams are going to take it away. And now what do you do? And guys did a really, really good job of kind of committing to the offensive game plan. Teams are going to play a variety of ways. They went zone versus us. And it surprised us a little bit early. And then we hit the ball, threw it in the middle of the zone. And then we hit the short corner and had a couple finishes there. So we adjusted well to that as well.
All right. I can't let you go without asking about your dad. You play him twice this year. You've coached against him, obviously, before, but never in conference games, never on this high of a scale. What's that going to be like again when you play him next month?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I tell the story that we have a Big East head coaches group chat that was started by Dan Leibowitz, who works for the Big East. And I remember he sent out a text about, I don't know, a meeting or a Zoom call that we were going to do. And I saw, like, Shaka Smart give the thumbs up. Greg McDermott was like, okay. Ed Cooley was, gave the thumbs up. And all of a sudden I see Dad like, okay. And I'm like, oh man, this is almost like, this doesn't feel right. It's like he's breaking up a party or something. But it'll be I mean, the biggest thing is, like, they're really, really good and they're really talented. They've lost some close games. So for one, like, whenever you play my dad, like, you become a better coach because it's really not about an underneath out of bounds play. It's about, like, you better be a warrior out there or you're going to get embarrassed. I mean, St. John's did it to Xavier last year in this building, just manhandled them on the glass. So, we're preparing for Missouri State, but we also know, like, the Big East is around the corner. And if you do not compete, you will get embarrassed. And certainly when you play St. John's, that's the greatest compliment. My dad's been a head coach for, 40, 50 years. And effort has never, ever been an issue with them.
Yeah. You can be honest with me. If I would have asked you, you could win the shootout or you can beat your dad this year, which one would you have preferred?
I think the shootout means a lot more to our fans. Okay. The shootout is a hard game because as a coach, you are programmed to not make one game bigger than another. Mm-hmm. But the fan base and the media really ramp the thing up. And so it's a victory, for me, building this program. And we started from scratch. People forget one of our best players got hurt, hasn't even played yet. Right. So to be able to win the shootout was great. But certainly bragging rights internally in my family, that would be cool too. But we know St. John's is a championship team, and that'll be really, really a huge challenge as well.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you hopping on. Good luck tomorrow against Missouri State.
All right. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yep.